Hi, this is Nina from NV Fine Art Studio. One of the most common reasons for including people in a painting is to create an interesting composition. Some include them to create a more realistic impression of the environment, especially when it comes to the size and scale. My personal reason is to make the scene alive and engaging. I think people in painted environment can tell stories and spark viewers' imagination. But an incorrectly painted figure may actually damage the whole vibe of the scene. Today, I want to share with you my do's and don'ts of how to paint a figure in watercolor in a scene, how to make them engaging and interesting. In total, I want to share 10 tips and also practice sketching and painting outside. So I decided to split them into 3 tutorials. In part 1, I will be sharing do's and don'ts of drawing people. In the second part, I will be painting a group of people in watercolor, and in the third one, we will go outside and practice. So stay tuned. Okay, let's begin. Number 1. Practice. Please practice painting or sketching figures as much as you can. I cannot emphasize more how important it is to practice sketching people. If you don't have time or opportunity to get the paints out, just practice pencil sketching. When I studied at my art school, I had to produce at least 10 figure sketches every week. Every successful artist has a sketchbook and sketches figures on a regular basis. As soon as you get the grip of producing a good figure, it actually becomes very satisfying. Because suddenly, in a few minutes, you can actually produce a piece of art. Don't add people to the scene if you never practice painting or sketching figures. Many probably think, why bother, I'm okay with figures, even if they are not perfect, who cares? Wrong. I'm going to show you a few examples of watercolor paintings that I found online. I'm obviously not doing it to shame, this is purely to show you in real life examples how easy it is to make mistakes. And the trickiest thing is they don't see the mistakes they made. If you struggle with identifying mistakes, I have a community on my Patreon where you can post your results and ask questions. So, if you need professional help, please don't hesitate, come and visit me. This is a very nice painting. It has a nice color harmony, good values, variety of edges, and so on. But the way people are painted, it spoils everything. Unfortunately, every single thing about these people is wrong. Perspective is completely skewed, proportions are wrong, all people look alike, all people have the same attitude, heads are circles, legs are sticks, they all look very stiff. There is more detail in the posture on the people in the background than on the foreground, and so many more. People are alive and use their body language for interactions. It is important we translate it on paper. We interact with people so frequently in real life, when we see them poorly drawn, it is very noticeable. Same as if you paint a symmetrical shape crooked. Our brain instantly tells us it's wrong. So, if you don't practice painting people, please don't include them in your painting. If you really want to, please go and practice first. Number 2. Vertical proportions. Pay attention to vertical proportions. It is common knowledge to measure a person in their heads when you sketch it. Average adult is 7.5 heads tall. Number of heads: 1 head, 2 chest, 3 waist, 4 pelvis, 5 thighs, 6 knees, 7 ankles, 7.5 feet. I also often indicate eye level, which is half of head size, as this usually aligns with the horizon line. Don't make the head too small or too large. For example, if you make the head too small, the person will look taller than average, unless of course you are painting fashion models or basketball players. On the other hand, if you make the head too large, the person will look smaller or childlike. Horizontal proportions. Pay attention to horizontal proportions. The size of the shoulders is very important. Shoulders and hips are usually 2 heads wide. If you want to differentiate gender and age, you can make slightly wider shoulders for a man and slightly narrow for a girl, and 1 head width for a child. Don't make horizontals such as shoulders and hips unproportionately too narrow or too wide or asymmetrical. Head and shoulders are the key elements to the figure proportions. If you make the shoulders unproportionally big or small or different sizes and shapes, the person will look superficial and stereotypical. Pay attention to body language, attitude and posture. The posture and attitude tell the story in the brightest terms, so it is very important to get it right. First, try to capture the movement. Here's an example. Make an oval for the head, dot for the pelvis. Connect these two areas. Next, make two horizontal lines that capture the shoulder movement and the hip movement. Usually they go in opposite directions. If the left shoulder goes up, then the left hip goes down. Then add two dots for the ankles. Then connect pelvis and ankles. You can also imagine the person's spine as a reference for his posture. These lines will represent the person's movement. If you think you got the man's movement correctly, you can proceed to adding thickness to the figure. Here are a few more examples of typical postures. I'm going to outline just a few to save some time, but if you want to get in more detail on how to understand the posture and simplify the sketching process of different poses, I will be explaining it real time on my Patreon in this week's demonstration. Here is a person walking. Shoulders and hips are not parallel, legs are crossing. Here's a person fast or power walking. Shoulders and hips are not parallel, legs are wide. Person with a child interacting. Shoulders tilted towards each other, heads are turned. Here's an elder person walking. Bended shoulders, bended knees. Shoulders start just below ears. One arm holding a walking stick. Body leaning towards walking stick. Don't draw a generic stick-like figures. Many say just paint a carrot stick and it will be a representation of a person. In some ways it's true, particularly if they are part of the crowd. But a generic carrot stick doesn't have a soul, doesn't have the life in its attitude. And if you put him in the foreground, in your focal point, there will be no one to tell the story. Plan adding people to the scene in advance. It doesn't matter if people are already a part of the scene. You have to think about how they affect the composition and what kind of energy they add to the scene. You may need to add or remove people, and if so, play with where to put them, the number of people, what they will be doing, standing, sitting, walking, swimming. I'd probably suggest doing it in Photoshop. Don't paint the whole painting and then just quickly add a figure. It will most likely spoil it. You can by mistake make them too big, too tall, or place them in an odd spot. Clear vision in your head comes with experience. I've been painting for quite some time now and still get better results if I sketch or Photoshop people into the scene in advance. I hope these tips will help you with starting practicing sketching people. Next week I will be doing part 2 of do's and don'ts, and they will be more specifically about painting people in watercolor, in groups, and adding them into the scene. I also will be doing a demonstration on my Patreon of a seascape with people as focal point, so please come and visit me there. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.